We're headed over to the UMC-1500-DUO. I'm sitting here again with Milton Ramirez.
Morning, Andrew.
Another product specialist. It's all product specialists and Brian and I during the week here. So now we looked at this machine on the first demo day live. Brian and John looked at this machine and we thought we'd do another lap with it because it's a really interesting machine. It's got a lot of capabilities and it really gives you a lot of possibilities.
Exactly. Yeah, this is one of my favorite machines since it's in its inception. What's really great about this machine is basically it is still a UMC-750, but it has an addition. It has the work envelope and pretty much the same table and travels of a VF2 YT.
Right.
So a VF2 YT, as I was saying earlier, has a 30 inches of travel on X, and UMC-750 also has 30 inches of travel. So this machine has
60 inches of travel. Yeah,
so basically,
they put them side by side, basically.
They added both travels of X, and now you have two work areas that are definitely, lots of space, lots of room to do your 3-axis work or 5-axis work. So
right. You can have back-to-back 5-axis and 3-axis jobs.
Yeah. And what's really cool about it, it retains all the 5-axis capabilities, right? You have still your C-axis platter, your B-axis tilt, and all the good things that we implemented with the redesign of the UMCs as well.
Right. Yeah, new spindle head, new...
external coolant tanks, the door is different, and we'll talk about a little bit more about all that good stuff.
So another cool thing about the travel is, kind of maybe one of the hidden benefits, I suppose, is that you also have all of that X travel, and both of these are at the same height.
Yeah,
if you do need to fixture a really long part, you've got that additional capability.
That's a great point, because it does give you that capacity to hold a long part onto two surfaces, right? Because as you said, the platter and the table are at the exact same height.
Right.
And if somebody's curious and would like to know, if you tilt the platter at 90 degrees, then the center of rotation is 2 inches above the table.
Okay.
So just for throwing that out there. Okay.
So now this is an SS machine this is
no,
not
it's
the
not
SS
an
machine.
SS.
Okay, so this has the standard spindle.
This is 8100 RPM, 40 taper. It does have the option of upgrading to 10,000, 12,000, even 15,000.
Right.
You can get HSK taper if you'd like as well.
But 40 taper or HSK.
Yeah, but HSK only comes in 12 or 15,000 RPM, right? If this was an SS machine, then obviously you get a 12,000 RPM standard spindle. Right. You get the faster rapids, the faster tool change, and high-speed machining is standard on the control as well.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay,
so now this machine, so this does have the 50 pocket tool changer on it. So standard is 30 pockets, of course, but you can, if you need those extra tools, you've got that option.
Yeah, they do come in handy especially when you're doing two types of work. I mean, at any given time, you can stop doing a 5-axis job that you're probably running, and now you have a hot, 3-axis job that you want to run on multiple vices. You can do that right away, and that's why you would want to have a lot of tools.
Yeah, you can make that argument either way, right? If you're running something consistently on either table, you've got the other one at your disposal to run something that comes up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't compare.
And you can easily run 2 3-axis jobs as well.
Yeah, exactly.
No reason you couldn't do that.
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things about this machine as well, because the Trunnion, let me show you something here. I'm going to rotate or tilt the axis. By the way, it has 120 degrees to the positive direction, which is that one right there, and it has negative 35 to the other side. But what I want to show you here on the tilt axis is that there's also a flat surface where you can bolt on a smaller, maybe 5-inch vise. There's a half 13 bolts threaded holes here for a 4-inch or 5-inch separation, so that you can put a vise here. Basically, what most people do with this vise here is just machine the dovetails when you're going to hold something for 5-axis work. So you can reach all 4 sides and the top of that part. Dovetail is the usual way to go. So this works as a preparation vise for your 5-axis work.
You really have these 3 different surfaces to take care of different operations, kind of depending on how you want to do it.
That's right. It's just a lot of versatility. That's what's cool.
Right. You might prep your dovetail there, do your 5-axis work here, and do your cleanup on the machine the dovetail off here or something along those lines.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So that's your negative 35 degrees. I'll put this back in a certain direction. So one other thing that comes standard with this machine, since it's such a long travel, or you're going to do tool changes and things like that, is that it has a second home button that I want to demonstrate. But before we do that, maybe do we want to talk a little bit about the differences on the exterior of the machine?
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Okay, so because of the redesign of the UMC 750s, one of the best things they did was they put the doors on the inside of this machine.
Right.
So
No more
now,
dumping a big pile of chips out on the floor anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And it made the doors smaller, they're lighter, they're easier to close, right? The first thing I want to show you is that you can open the door just halfway, right? You don't have to go all the way.
Right, it's got this cool two-stage door.
Yeah, in case you're just working here, you're just doing 5-axis work, you're changing out your part over here, you can reach your control. You don't have to open it all the way. So it's really simple to just go close it.
Right, so if you're on the UMC table, you're probably
halfway.
just using that first segment.
Exactly, but if you're doing full work, then you're gonna go all the way and open it like that.
And it's pretty easy to open,
super
surprisingly.
light. Yeah, it's super light,
rolls
really easy. Chips don't get in the rails or anything, so it stays smooth the whole time. So
then some of the other changes, like in terms of control position, this stuff here.
Exactly, because of that door inside and smaller, area there that's taken by the door, then we were able to put the control on the front of the machine. It used to be on the side, so now it's in the front, more convenient, closer. You can actually work and get in there closer and see what you're doing. Plus, we have room now to put all your convenience package,
features,
right?
That's right.
You always want to put
you have
tools
a place to
up
put
there,
your tools, a place to put your your
tooling, wrenches like we have here, and the convenience of this of the cabinet back here too, where you can store the operator's manual or whatever other important documentation that you might have.
Right.
External 55-gallon coolant tank is standard, which is pretty much the standard coolant tank for most
You're probably going to get to
machines.
this, but also moving the control around to the front gave us more possibilities on the side in terms of where the side window is at.
Exactly, yeah,
what we're doing with that.
And towards the end, I guess we'll go around because I would like to get a shot of the vices and all that from the window. Okay. But yeah, you do have that window, that opening there, and in case somebody wants to add third party or Haas, some Haas type of automation, you can, and that gave us that possibility.
That's right. You want to put a robot there to load that,
put a robot
a fixture there,
a pallet pool, or an APL, whatever it may be. Right? I don't know if it's available for this machine, but on the UMC family, that gave us the opportunity.
Right. We saw that.
We
saw that yesterday, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the good points. Something else that this machine has standard is it has the templates, the VPS templates. It comes standard with whips. Obviously, it comes in really handy for all your 3D work, but it's most useful for your 5-axis stuff as well. When you first get the machine, I know a lot of customers that at least once a week, they want to double check their MRZP values. So we do have templates here that customers can use.
Right, we talked a lot yesterday with Marcus about setting an MRZP, and all that stuff comes standard, all the tooling ball and everything to allow you to set that.
Standard,
and you've got the templates that walk you through that process.
Exactly, simple data to enter here on the templates, and all that process is automated and saved in the settings, and you're ready to go with accuracy.
Right, right.
Yep, so what else do we have here to mention?
Also, I think one of the other things cool to mention that's come standard with this is DWO and TCPC.
Yeah, it's definitely
that's
standard
an option on
all
some
5-axis
machines, but on these, it's a standard, and it's really indispensable in terms of making programming easier.
Yes, dynamic work offsets and tool control point compensation.
That's what it stands for.
Exactly,
if you haven't heard us say that.
Yep. So that comes standard on the control as well. Okay. So let me do a tool change because I want to show you what the second home button does. Okay.
Right.
So for safety reasons, we're going to close this here.
Yeah. Well, won't let you do that without doing that.
So if I wanted now to maybe take that tool out, replace it, do something with it, then it's kind of far away. I'd have to open the door the whole way.
In there,
But the machine comes standard with the second home button. So what I can do is I can program the position that it's going to right now. So let me just press that button.
All right, so now it's totally accessible.
What the second home button does, it conveniently brings the spindle to wherever I want it to go.
Right, maybe you even want it here if you're putting your tools here or something.
If that's what you want. If you're maybe changing the tools over on the convenience shelf there, you could put it there. It's programmable on the user settings here up in the settings page, right? You go to the user positions, and that's where you have your second home position. You can program it for X, for Y, Z, and also even the rotation. In case it's up at a certain angle, you can make sure that this is programmed at 0 so that when your tool comes over, the platter is going to go flat, right, and get out of the way. I did have it at 0, so it didn't move because it was already there. But that's just another safety feature of that button. Okay, cool. So.
So you want to talk a little bit about the fixturing or the work holding we have in here for just a second?
Sure.
Sal, do you want to maybe brush it, blow it off?
Come over through the
we'll get out of their way. Sal, you can come in here a little closer and just take a look. Now, all of this work holding right now is not on the website yet, but it's coming soon. We're also going to be taking a look at, I think we're going to be taking a look at some of this stuff, not tomorrow, later today, over in the demo room when we switch locations.
That's right. So those are the Haas vices. I believe those are 6-inch vices there. And we do have the smaller versions, larger versions of these same vices. And I'm sure you guys will talk about that later today. But all the work holding that's available through the Haas, right? And this,
over to the right,
on the platter here, we have a riser and we have a self-centering manual vise as well. Those are two different options. I mean, they don't come as a package, but you can get them separately. All the Haas work holding will be plug and play basically. They'll all fit, they'll all match. And we'll just let that, they'll talk about you guys will talk about that later, right? Yeah.
Brian will talk about that.
Brian will talk, and John.
I don't know that spiel. So, anything else we want to mention here, or we?
Basically, I think the major points, the major things are features of the machine. I think we already mentioned.
Okay, cool. In that case, I want to call John Nelson on here for a second. We recorded a demo for this video already, and hey, here's John Nelson. So John Nelson's going to talk us. You're going to talk us through the demo in a minute here, but you want to do kind of a little preamble to it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that when we first came out with the UMC-1500-DUO for the first demo day, which I believe was June, we wanted a video that highlighted all Haas tooling. So the 2-axis side of this, which is a new demo created at that time, all uses Haas tooling. And then we took advantage of Mark Terryberry's throttle body demo from several years ago to do the 5-axis because it's such a killer demo. Yeah. So that's what we've got on the video, and we're gonna start.
Cool, sounds good. John's gonna run around here and try not to trip on any cables. Join Frank over the decks there. So one thing to remember during the demo, they wanted me to say this, is that we purposely turned the coolant flow level down in this video. So if you see that it looks like it's running kind of lean, it is on purpose. You're trying to strike that balance between being able to see the part actually getting cut and then
not
blasting the cameras
up all the tools either.
Yeah, but also not gall up the tools at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the 3-axis side of this demo was actually inspired by an image I found on the internet, and it ended up turning out really, really well. The first tool that we're going to see come in here is going to face the top. This is a 2.5-inch Haas face mill with octagon-shaped inserts, and that thing's running at 6,040 RPM, 152 inches a minute, and 100 thousandths deep. Next, we're going to demonstrate tool center point control. We'll see as this tool moves over to the corner of this part, it follows the rectangle shape of that block, and all we did is add rotary moves to that position, and you can see that the tool actually stays stationary with regard to the edge point of that workpiece. Okay, so the roughing tool on the throttle body here is a 40 millimeter or 1.575 inch 6-flute face mill that's taken 1/4 of an inch deep. It's really a rip and cutter, and we'll see it several more times in the video here. This is a 3/4 inch Haas 3-fluter that's roughing at 15,000 RPM, 360 inches a minute. We're taking a 7.5 thou chip load with this cutter, and man, that thing really removes a lot of material in a short period of time. Now we're back to our 40 millimeter, this is a 20 millimeter 3-fluter that's running at the same speed as that 3/4, and we're doing the work on the 5-axis side of the machine now. This is that 40 millimeter end mill that's taken 250 thousandths depth of cut. Really impressive cutter. I do want to mention here, you may notice that these tools are traveling in a straight line from the workpiece over to the tool changer. I'll show you that in a second. This is a 1/2 inch TSC end mill, plunging, cutting 2 inches deep. That's 4 times diameter deep. Back to the stationary table, we'll be pocketing with the Haas 1/2 inch 3 flute end mill, running again at 15,000 RPM. That's 180 inches a minute and 600 thousandths depth of cut. Go back to what I mentioned before. You'll notice when we do tool changes on this machine, the cutters are making a straight line move from the workpiece up to the tool change position, and that's because I utilized setting 247, which is XYZ simultaneous tool change. Now most machines ship with this off, all machines ship with this off, but you can turn it on if you want. And this is really advantageous on machines where the spindle travels in more than just the Z-axis to tool change position. So if this setting is on, it will go straight up in Z and then move X and Y over to the tool changer. If this setting is off, the tool will travel in a straight line from wherever it's programmed to do a tool change up to tool change position. So it can save you a lot of cycle time on tool changes. Let's see, we're back over to the rotary portion where we're drilling 1/4 inch diameter holes. There's our 40 millimeter insert drill. That's a Haas insert drill, drilling all the way through that 3 inch piece of aluminum in a really short time. Very impressive cutters. Back to our 2.5 inch octagon face mill there. Back over on the rotary, our 40 millimeter 6 fluter. Again, 7,800 RPM, 130 inches a minute. That's taking 8 millimeters deep, or 315 thousandths. We'll go back over to the stationary table here in just a second. Oh, my apologies. Back over to the stationary table now. That's the 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and 3/8 inch chamfer tools are all putting the finishing touches on the part here. We're drilling a couple holes in it there as well. Let's see now, the chamfer tools cutting on the rotary side. That part is finished, so it's a little dump cycle to get rid of the coolant. We're going to flip that part over, take care of the second side. Same face path that we saw in the beginning. There's our 20 millimeter end mill roughing the profile. This is a really cool helical OD cut, and then that same cutter opening up the inside diameter. You can tell that's a nice thin wall. There's our finish end mill, finishing the ID, and then a little chamfer on the ID. Now that part is finished. We're bringing the drill with TSC coolant on over to blow the chips out from underneath the vise. And there it is. Our demo is complete.
All right, thanks, John, for walking us through the demo. So before we move on to the other guys in a second here, you want to say a couple more things about the machine, right?
The one last thing about the footprint, because it is a machine that has very long travels, but we want to give some comparison for customers that are maybe familiar with other Haas machines. So in terms of length, the machine is, as we had here, 3 inches shorter than a VF5. So it's comparable to VF5 in length. Now in depth, it's 13 inches deeper than a VF6.
Right.
So I think that puts you
so
around.
You're kind of in the large VF spectrum,
Yeah.
but you've got all this work envelope, and you've got 2 different places you
Exactly.
can do
So
work
it's
at.
not really a very large footprint for what it is.
Right.
But it's something that's easy
and it
to
gives you the
accommodate.
capability to do 5-axis and 3-axis work back to back.
Exactly.
Very easily.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Milton, for walking
You're welcome.
walking through this.